Salute! Hello, everybody. Am I live? I think I'm live. I think we're live. Welcome to another New Twos live demo. Today, we will be walking around New Twos, the best place to write things down, the place to get things off of your mind, your easiest, fastest, quickest, best, smartest place to unload your thoughts, organize them in a way that works for you, and get use out of the information that you come across every single day. My name is Twos Joe, co-founder of Twos, which you can learn more about at writethingsdown.com or use V3 of Twos at twosApp.com. So let me explain that one more time. You can use Twos in its current iteration on web at twosApp.com, or you can learn more about new Twos, which is what we're going to be going through today, at writethingsdown.com. All right, well, that just felt like a lot of hot garbage. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull up my live demo script so that I can make sure to tell you guys all of the best stuff. First and foremost, can somebody in the chat drop a message and or emoji to let me know that they can hear me okay, please? That would be awesome. And while I'm waiting on that message, allow me to get started with our agenda here today. First and foremost, once again, welcome to the demo. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for taking some time to be around. Awesome. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Lisa. My name is Twos Joe. I'm the co-founder of Twos. My other co-founder is Parker. And Parker is our CEO, CTO, the man behind the code. I am our brand, community, communications, marketing. You know, we're a team of two. Along with our trusty partner, Nino, who you all may be familiar with, our goal is to build one place for people to offload anything in their mind, remember the important bits of their life, and have an easier, better existence because they're able to organize anything. I will make sure that that all makes a lot more sense once we get started with the demo itself. But how did we get to this point? Early on in my career, I was really struggling with how to get ahead, so I asked my dad for some general advice. He said, as someone with ADHD, if you couldn't tell already, you should write things down. Now, initially, I kind of challenged him on that sentiment because, who hadn't been writing things down once you are ultimately 22, 23 years old? There's essays, there's homework, there's just things that, we are pretty accustomed to writing down as a normal part of our daily lives. Now, what he suggested was write everything down. Write down names, write down things you need to do, write down reminders, write down stand-up jokes. And so I did. Into black and red notebooks with a favorite pen, I would just write things down to get them off of my mind, and I did immediately notice how much more organized, effective, and, in control I felt of my life. So then Parker, my co-founder, introduced me to Twos, and the way he presented it to me was he was looking to build the best place to write things down. So with my new appreciation and experience with notebooks, combined with Parker's vision to build the best place to write things down, I joined him in his crusade to build such a tool. That was about 5 years ago now. And the good news is that we have obviously had just a little bit of success to the point that you guys are here and interested in seeing what we got going on with Twos. That really is our vision. Our vision is to build digital paper for you to quickly write anything down on your mind, feel more organized, share important information with others, and this demo will show you exactly how that all works and why it's so effective and enjoyable. All right, should we get started with the demo? Are you guys ready to just go ahead and get into it? Let me convert over to my phone screen now and see if this is working. Okay, great. So for the first time, I'm actually going to be running the demo on my phone itself so that you guys can see like what all the taps look like. We got some really exciting things to display, some updates, and obviously I want this to be as interactive as you guys would like, so feel free to drop questions, comments, thoughts, anything that you want to see, anything that you want to know in the chat, and I'll be more than happy to take a look at that every now and again. Okay, so first and foremost, this is New Twos, the best place to write things down. You can see it right there in my bottom bar because it is the quickest place for you to capture anything that's on your mind quickly. So I like to have it in immediate availability to me at all times. I also am using the widget here to remember the things that I have coming up on my day. So when you open Twos, when you open New Twos, the first thing that you see is this new capture view. The purpose of the capture view is for you to quickly be able to capture anything that's floating in your mind. For example, tonight, Bilbao plays Real Madrid at 7, right? That is something that I actively want to remember because it's a game, it's a thought, it's an event, it's a restaurant, it's a movie, it's something. Let's give the movie example. Somebody says, hey, you should check out the movie Oppenheimer, or listen to Lil Wayne. You know, people share, this is actually a statistic that we use a lot. People have over 6,000 unique thoughts per day. And so what that means is thoughts, recommendations, ideas, to-dos, clean clothes, right? These are the types of things that if you get them off of your mind and into a trustworthy application, you're gonna just be living a better life in general. Now, how does Twos make that unique? How does Twos, kind of punch up to that responsibility? First and foremost, each individual piece of information is called a thing. And things are reorderable, movable, shareable pieces of your life. So you may be noticing a little bit of a glitch here with the reordering on the capture view. That'll be a lot smoother on the actual day, and we are still in beta, but I definitely want to highlight the idea that each individual piece of information is its own atomic unit. So for example, clean clothes can now be moved to a new list. For example, I'll call live demo to-dos, right? Just a random list that I'm making in order to better organize my life and my needs, and maybe I'll show my stats at some point in this call or in this demo because I make lists for everything. I'll show you guys what that looks like in just a second. But the whole idea is that you can move those things from your capture view into lists if they're appropriate. Now you may be wondering, what are the purple diamonds? The purple diamonds are one way that we just build a unique moat around Twos, which is that because each piece of information is its own individual unit, you can actually run smart suggestions. And so using AI to categorize what type of thing we're looking at and how I can help make things more useful to people. So for example, turning this thing into a to-do. Once I turn that thing into a to-do, it gives me the ability to cross that thing off, which then goes down into the bottom into a little completed section. It also gives me the ability of having my unfinished to-dos carry over each day. So let's go take a look at that. Let's go ahead and move this thing to my day. Let's delete this list. Let's go back to our capture view. And you may be wondering, well, Joe, where are the rest of your things? Every time you leave the capture view or swipe up or down, you then get dropped to your daily list. Now, what's the point of the daily list? The daily list is not only what integrates with your calendar and reminders so that you can get notifications 4 things that you want to remember. Now, today is not my 30th birthday. It is on Christmas Day. So I merely just have this thing written down to, stay in present, to keep it in perspective that my birthday is coming up, December 25th. So 22 days to enjoy being in my 20s, but coming to a close. So reminders, birthdays, to-dos, the ability to just quickly jot down those things you need to do, and then also, those random notes. So this is really where the important part of our demo comes to fruition. I'm kind of a psycho. I write more things down than 99% of our users. That's because I understand the tool, I understand the benefit of the tool, and I'm going to go into that a little bit more. But restarted Silicon Valley for the first time, heard some products and supplements that people were talking very favorably about online. I wrote down a note about, our North Star. I wrote down what the exchange rate is. Why do I do all of this? Because you never know what thing might become valuable. Not today, maybe today, maybe tomorrow. Who knows when these things ultimately become important to our lives? But if you have the quickest and easiest place to write those things down, then there's no reason not to. So let's talk a little bit about how we make things useful, like the idea of all of these things that I've written down. One example, distinctly, is that because we give you a daily list, you can quickly write silly things down no matter where, regardless of whether or not they belong or need a list. So for example, I just converted a lot of US dollars to euros, and I want to keep up with whether I got a good deal on the exchange rate. So yesterday, when I converted, it was 0.86, and then today, it was 0.85. So I did make the right call transferring yesterday as compared to today. These are just things that I want to remember, and it's so quick and easy to write those things down. Why wouldn't you? I did. All right, let me take a look at the chat really quick, and because I did see one thing come in. Curious about the stats. If you want to show them, yeah. Let's see if I have them. Let's see if I have them. Okay, no stats in V4, so let's go into V3. Let's go into the side menu, let's go into settings, and at the very bottom, we'll see stats. Holy guacamole. 146,000 things, 1,800 days. Those are days that I've written things down on. Over 4,000 lists, 545 active to-dos, 676 active stars. Yeah, a lot of referrals, a lot of coins, and my streak. So we're actually going to go back to that in just a second. And I love the fact that the person that referred you is a part of your twos history forever. Parker referred twos to me. I used his code. I was referred 2 twos by Parker. Okay, so let's see. Hi, Renee. Welcome to the chat. We've talked a little bit about the speed and ease of using twos. We've talked a little bit about the different types of things that you can write down in twos. Now let me add a little bit more substance to why you would write all of these random things down. So if I go to my home screen, which is actually what we're referring to as the remember view, the remember view is all about giving you a quick and easy place to remember the things you've written down. So for example, 2 years ago, I had Rao's Pizza. 1 week ago, I wrote down a gratitude moment about the blessed life that I'm living. And in a year ago, we were talking and learning about UTM parameters. So if I go into my memories view, I'll see all of the things that I've written down over the course of years. Years and years of using this app, including all the way up until today. So back in 2021, I had these things written down. The fact that I went to Milwaukee. The fact that I was in Milwaukee for a wedding that I was an usher in. I was keeping track of flights. I was keeping track of the dates and tidbits for the rehearsal dinner. You know, I was writing down notes and ideas that I had about twos. I was keeping track of songs that I was listening to, random little, jokes that I made. Why do flight attendants get full body straps while passengers are securing themselves in with tooth floss? You get it. And the whole idea, here we go, Prosecco, never Moscato. This actually comes with a very funny story. The girl that I was at the wedding with asked me to go downstairs to the lobby to get champagne. So I go down to the lobby. Yeah, Jacob, that's a great question. I'm going to address that in just a second. So I went down to the lobby to get champagne. I picked up Moscato. Moscato was the sweetest wine I've ever had in my life, and I hated it. I hate sweet wine. Renee knows that. So I remember vividly being like, I need to remember that what I'm looking for in the future is Prosecco, not Moscato. Because they asked me at the bar, they were like, do you want Prosecco or Moscato? And I was like, I don't know. And he didn't know. So I got the Moscato, never again. And then, I literally write down these core memories that I have with my friends. I shared, as a matter of fact, some of these things with my friend Stu, whose wedding was 4 years ago tomorrow. And so now it'll just start a conversation between me and Stu about how much we love each other and how happy we are to be able to be, friends, and the fact that we're able to celebrate his anniversary. So let's go back to my review tab. Let's go into memories. You guys get the idea there. The more things you write down, the more that they stay organized just by staying on your day, if they're entirely random, or you can put them into lists. It gives you the ability to just quickly remember anything. And the benefit, as a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and speak to Jacob's question now. How might the review tab get smarter? Jacob, that is mwah. Our entire goal with this application is to build the quickest place for you to write things down, organize them in an easy way, and make it smart and useful for that information to be represented to you. As I'm sure you guys are very familiar, we are in an age of AI and large language models. We, in a big way, see twos as a small language model. So quite literally, we are writing these. So what does small language model mean? The more things that you write down in twos, the more the application understands you, your quirks, your memories, your habits, your thoughts, your emotions, so on and so forth. If we can help bring those things up at the right time, then that is our entire goal. For example, one thing that we've talked about, let's say on your calendar you have a dinner with your significant other's family. On the drive, because twos knows that you have that dinner, if we're able to read all of your lists, intellectually of course, using AI, so nobody's actually reading your lists, which is actually obviously very important to our core mission. We don't access or sell any information. You own your data 100%. The whole idea is that if we can see the connection between something on your calendar and a list that you had made that says, Ali's dad's favorite wine is Paso Robles, then twos might be able to suggest that you go pick up Paso Robles on your way to your dinner. Our entire mission, our entire vision, our entire North Star with this app, which you can take a part of now. There is no delay. You can go ahead and be a part of this future now by writing more things down, is to make sure that you live a smarter, more efficient, more effective life through writing things down, and then we will make sure to give those things back to you in a smart way. So here's another great example. Chat, twos chat, right? Twos chat is quite literally the ability to prompt your things. So it kind of right now works as a smarter, faster search. For example, what is my blood type? And the whole idea is that because I've written this down at one point in my life, I now have the ability of seeing that thing in a moment's notice because I'm able to remember what I need to prompt to's chat. And let's think of another example. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. What is Parker's Chipotle order? Right? So I'm hoping that this is all making some degree of sense. I mean, look at that, guys. Chips on the side if that wasn't obvious. I mean, that's just so good. That's so good. That's so good. Because we have a tendency to write more things down, because I have a tendency to write more things down, if I can inspire you to write more things down, then we can give you the tools that you need in order to re-access that information and to make your life better. So in a world where I know that Parker's had a bad day and he hasn't eaten and he really wants, the ability to, just kind of live and like let loose. Sometimes you just need to write those things down. Oh, rather, I can then use to's to pick him up Chipotle and surprise him without having to ask him. You don't need to scroll through your texts to find people's coffee orders or, what your boss's dog's name is. Let's go with one more name, one more example here. What is Mara's dog's name, right? So again, something that you would maybe never think to write down or never be able to remember, but quite literally, just by capturing that piece of information back in 2020, almost 5 years ago and some, I have the ability of remembering that girl's dog's name. So if I see the dog, I'm able to remember its name, I'm able to refer to it by name, and that is something that's really valuable and really important. I'm gonna take a deep breath here because obviously I've been spewing. I'm gonna read the chat here for just a second, see if anybody has any questions, comments, thoughts. And then let's keep talking a little bit about new twos. Let's talk a little bit about the new gamification that I'm super excited to show you guys. And obviously I'm gonna try and keep this as valuable and straightforward as possible. So let's take a look at the chat. Okay, Renee, thank you so much for all of your thoughts and comments. Important thing to know, and I am adding it as a thing now. Well, that is interesting. Say more. Two's chat legit saved my life, changed my life. I love that, Renee. So happy to hear that. If you surprised him with Chipotle right now, he would be very surprised. Indeed. If I lived in the same country as Two's Baller, I would probably think about going and getting him Chipotle. But he actually eats a lot of oats, a lot of oatmeal. Cool. Lisa, excited to talk about gamification. I'm excited to show you gamification. Is what I've been saying up until this point been relevant? Are you guys give me some feedback, because I get so excited when I talk about twos, as you can tell, specifically because it just makes a lot of sense to me personally. The idea that I can quickly just write these things down and have them impact and benefit my life for years to come, I just find extremely, extremely exciting. So hopefully that, some of that excitement is connecting. And if not, tell me, because we need to, I want this app to become popular. I want this app to change people's lives. Okay. Let me show you one more thing before we get into gamification, because I think that because I now am connected through QuickTime, I can use our new Ramble feature. So when I click this little Ramble icon, I'm now speaking into twos, as you can tell by the capture bar turning into a little voice thing. And now if I just speak in prose, but I also throw in an occasional note, like, it's really cold in Bilbao today. I need to buy a jacket. And also, I need to clean my clothes. I know I already used that example, but now I'm gonna hit process. And okay. There you go. We can make that probably a little bit better, but the whole idea is that now with twos, you can ramble into it, and we will do our best to turn your things or turn your words into things. So if I swipe down, I'll be back on my day where all of these random things get written down. And let's just show you guys a couple more smart suggestions. The movies get detected as movies, and then you get the ability to go to where their streaming information is. You can add reminders to things just by using natural language. And then here's just another great example. Baller booked his trip to Bilbao. He's coming from the 4th to the 11th, and I have an alert for a week before that so that I can make the plan. Write these things down, let them come back to you when it matters. It will literally change your life. Let's make sure that I'm really leaning in to things again here. Oh, you guys just saw that little pop-up for the 10 coins? Let's go take a look at that in just a second. So by selecting things, you'll notice that I don't need to select things like right next to each other, similar to highlighting. You have the ability of selecting things no matter where they are in your list. So I will delete 4 things for now, just to show you guys. And then I will delete 2 things. And then I will delete these last things. Just because I don't want to muddy up my 2s. I like clean 2s. And then one more smart suggestion I'll show you guys. For products, we smart detect the idea that you may want to buy those products and open Amazon. All right, is that enough? Let me quickly take a look at the chat, see if there's any other questions. Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna go look at the gamification in just 1 second here. Bill had a question and said that the demo has been mostly iOS. A web app is also on the radar, some larger lists that he would find easier to work with on desktop. Yes, Bill, 100%. Currently, everything does sync between new 2s and old 2s. So new 2s in beta, you need to be invited, which actually this is the perfect opportunity. If everything that I've shared with you is exciting, then go to writethingsdown.com, join the waitlist. We are constantly adding new people from the waitlist to help us debug, to help us test, to ask questions. So join the waitlist at writethingsdown.com. And then twosapp.com is actually where you can use V3 on web, desktop, mobile, and sometimes Android. And it syncs perfectly fine currently. So anything that I write on this app will go onto the web. Anything that I write on web will come into the app. twosapp.com to use it on web. Writethingsdown.com to join the waitlist for what I'm showing you right now. Renee wants to know if she will ever run out of space. No. I'll actually tell you guys a fun fact. I think this is a fun one. I recently downloaded all of my 2s, 143,000 things. Guess how big the file size was in Markdown? If you guys want to answer, drop your questions in the chat. Guess how big the file of all of my things in 2s was. And while you guys are dropping those guesses, I will read the last couple of questions from the chat. Yep, great, Bill. Love to hear that. Great, awesome, Bill. Super happy that answered your question. 1 gig, 323 megabytes. Love those guesses, guys. Those are phenomenal guesses. I'll wait a couple more seconds, then we'll get into the gamification, then we'll get off of the stream and back with our lives. But I am so excited to show you guys the new gamification. I am so excited. All right, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, final guesses, 15 megabytes. 143,000 things was 15 megabytes. The reason being, we're dealing with a lot of text. We convert all images into Amazon Web Services link previews. So there really isn't a lot of space being taken up. We don't offer file attachments currently because obviously we are, very cognizant of trying to make sure that we keep our, digital footprint down and overhead costs down. So 15 megabytes, 143,000 things. All right, guys, you ready to talk about the new gamification? So first and foremost, drum roll please. The way to get to the new gamification is by clicking on your coins in the top right-hand corner of your capture screen. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is absolute beauty to me. So Nino is the designer of this beautiful view, and Baller was able to implement it almost to perfection. So you'll see at the top here we have your streak. So my streak currently is 1,644 consecutive days of writing things down. 1,644 days of consecutively writing things down. So thank God I haven't been in a coma. Thank God I haven't, just not had a thing to write down. This lets you a little bit into my mind and how broken I am. I write things down every single day. A lot of things. We're now adding the ability for you to save your streak. So if you lose your streak by 24 to 48 hours, you can actually revert back to your last streak, or you can freeze it if you are planning on going somewhere, doing something, not needing to write things down. So these are two new features that are coming soon, the ability to save and freeze your streak. Then we see our twos clues, the ability for you to earn while you learn how the app works. So you saw the coins that I achieved for selecting a thing, and the two other opportunities that I have for earning a coin in this very moment is by creating a repeating reminder and by liking a post in Two's World. So let's do that right now. Why not? Breathe every day, right? So you can use natural language to write things down and then use smart suggestions to create reminders. So for example, right now, breathe every day, repeat daily. So Twos was smart enough to be able to read the fact that I was writing down breathe every day. When I said create that reminder, it automatically created a repeating reminder, and you even saw the coins tick up and the fact that I have now earned an additional 15 coins for creating that repeating reminder. And then another one, liking a post in Two's World. Let's go take a look at that. So look at all these things, look at all these posts. Let's find something that we want to like. Andy. And there we go, 20 more coins. So now that I've earned all of the coins that I can for the day, we actually give you a bonus buck. And we're gonna get there very soon here, guys. So I've completed all 3 Twos clues. My progress bar has now turned into a collection bar. I collect my buck. And now I have 153,000 coins and 2 bucks. How else can you get coins and bucks? By referring others. And then what do you use your coins and bucks on? Well, you spend coins on customizations, you spend bucks on features. So for example, right now, I'm gonna change my confetti. Right? So look at all this. Classic, peace sign, middle finger, money rain, orange glitter, rainbow, and we will constantly be coming up with new ideas for confetti and improving our confetti ideas. But right now, I'm gonna purchase oatmeal rain confetti. So now that I've purchased oatmeal rain, my confetti style changes to oatmeal rain. If I go back into my Twos and I find a thing that I'm ready to complete, for example, breathe every day, I get oatmeal rain and a little bit of a glitch. So just pretend you didn't see the glitch. But yeah, you guys get the idea. So coins can be used for customizations like updating your wallpaper, like changing your confetti style. Let's take a look at the rest. App icons, bookmark colors, font, completion sounds, color themes, all coming soon. But some things are already hooked up, some things are already working. Then bucks, we have features. Changing your default thing type, adding templates, multiple accounts. I don't think that any of these things are hooked up yet, and we actually might be changing the pricing just because I'm a little cognizant of making sure that, we're keeping the coin economy in balance, if you will. But all of these premium features, which OTs will have automatic access to. Don't worry if you already have these features. You won't need to play the game again if you don't want to. And if you want to skip all, just the ability to subscribe, get access to everything, don't need to play the games. And then let's say that you just want one feature. You have the ability to purchase a la carte coins and bucks. Now, I always think it's a very good thing to mention. This rewards center and our monetization is in some capacity not intended to actually earn us money. Now, Joe, you're the founder of 2zap.com. Of course you want to earn money. Not really. I want to actually help people live a better life. And that may sound super, that may sound super granola. It is true. Writing things down has changed my life, so I want to give people the quickest and easiest access in order to be able to do that themselves. And why we actually initially established the coins and the rewards is because we want people to learn how to use the app. We want people to learn how to use the app. We want people to build a habit with writing things down. So that explains clues, that explains making it your own through customizations, that explains putting some features behind a paywall because you don't need access to all of these things. I haven't at one point, changed my account or changed my default thing type. So the whole idea there is that we just want to make writing things down fun, and that is exactly what we're trying to accomplish with the rewards center. I'm going to take another deep breath to check the chat here. We're getting pretty close to the end of the demo, so if you guys have any questions or thoughts, please feel free to drop them now. But yeah, we're getting close. I mean, this is really a living, breathing, working app. Last thing that I'll show you guys, just while I'm in my ramble mode, if you hadn't yet gotten a chance to check out the new days view and then changing it into a 3-day calendar view, you'll notice all of the things that I've written down on a pretty little calendar. So time blocking also available in 2s because we really do see it as a daily engine for the things that you want to write, remember, or share. All right, let's take a look at the chat. 2's clues. Yep, Renee, I'm glad that you like that. Lisa, 4,146 things and a 30-day streak. Anybody can be like me. You too can have a 1,644-day streak if you just are inspired to write more things down because it doesn't cost you anything and it feels good. Writing things down in 2zap.com. Renee, mission, haven't seen feature of the 3-day time blocking yet. Glad you tuned in. Glad you got the chance to see it. All right, guys. So on that note, I'm feeling pretty good about where we're at. Thank you again so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for participating. That means a lot to me. Hopefully this information was, Christian, you're the best. Hopefully this demo was easy to digest and somewhat explainable as far as what our ultimate goal is with this application and how we want to just make the world a better place through the act of writing things down. So thank you guys so much for those of you who are already using 2s. We're only looking to continue to improve it. If you haven't gotten a chance, please like, subscribe, share 2s with your friends, visit writethingsdown.com to join the waitlist if you haven't already. And really, again, the only way that we're going to be able to accomplish our ultimate goal is that if I can convince enough people like yourself to write things down the way that I do, because, again, I feel really comfortable in saying it's changed my life. It has never hurt me in a single way. I write down my feelings, I write down my gratitude moments, and whenever I revisit those things at the right time and it just hits me in the face, it feels so good. So we're going to continue to strive to make more moments like that happen for everybody around the world. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble. And obviously we'll be back next week. If you have any other questions, thoughts, or needs, feel free to email me, joe@2zap.com. And happy Tuesday. Talk to you guys soon.